All right. What's today? Is it day 5? Yeah. All right. It's day 5. My crew's buzzing like a hive. Ooh. She eat me up like some chives. Ugh, come on. Come on. All right. But yeah, man. Day 5. It's advanced imbalances day, but realistically, it's not that crazy. It's just we're covering more than fair value gaps. So that's why it's more advanced. So what we're going to be covering is some of my favorite things ever. Also, hold on. We're going to be covering price voids, new day opening gaps, and new week opening gaps. But now that we're on the topic, I want to go look at something. Because someone told me they longed on a new day opening gap fill today. There was not a new day opening gap, bro. Yeah, there's no new day opening gap, so they were just capping for no reason. Alright. Noted. But anyways. Let's get into it. So we'll cover the first one, which is a price void. Realistically, a price void is the same thing as a new day opening gap and a new week opening gap. It's just the gap from when a candle closes and when the next candle opens. It's just on smaller time frames. So they show up often on the second chart. So we'll go to the second chart just to make it easy. So like this right here is a price void. Dude. Yeah, I'm going to crash out, just so you guys know. So the candle closed, bullish candle, closed here. The next bullish candle opened right here. So the gap between the two is a price void. It's the same, the way it can be, I don't really use it at all, I'm going to be honest, because price voids don't really show up on the time frames I trade. But the way that they can be used is you view it the same way that you would view a fair value gap, like how we talked about in the imbalance class. Like, if there is a section of price, like this opened, for one, it'll like always get filled. It'll always get filled. So this opened, and you see that it immediately filled that gap to the tick, and then went up. But hypothetically, if we left it open, and we just went up and never filled it, you would look at it the same way as an unfilled imbalance, like a fair value gap, but it's just way more urgent. Because with fair value gaps, like the reason why it's an imbalance, like we talked about, so here, for example, this fair value gap, the reason why it's an imbalance and it wants to get traded through is because it's only traded one direction and it wants to trade both for it to be a balanced section of price. The reason why an unfilled price void is way more urgent than just that is because it hasn't traded any direction of price. So like here, the candle closed and this candle opened and this section of price literally didn't have any price action on it. It is urgent that price goes and fills that. So we did get this move down here, but you would expect that this gets filled. I mean, like I said, I don't trade on the second chart, so I don't really pay attention to price voids super often. But price voids are the same thing as new day opening gaps and new week opening gaps. It's just like smaller. So that's the whole idea behind the imbalances that we're going to talk about today, though, is that they are more urgent draws on liquidity, and they need to get filled more urgently because it's a section of price that is literally not traded in any direction at all. So we can look at a couple more examples real quick, but like I said, it's literally the same thing as like a new day opening gap that I'm about to talk about. So another example here, candle close, candle open, and then you see it filled it, obviously. What is that? Dude, you need to, it's time to invest. Holy. Or go on your phone or something, I don't know, that's crazy. Alright, but yeah, we can find a couple more examples, even though, like I said, it's not, I don't really use this, but you'll notice on a lot of these, like, the next candle opens and the gap is there, we pretty much, like, go and fill it immediately. Like, this wick went up and filled it immediately, and then we went down. Because I told you, it's like we fill that stuff urgently. So, price voids, I don't really use. If you're going to be a second chart trader, it's something to pay attention to, but, like, realistically, price voids themselves you won't use in your trading a lot. Um, so yeah, there's not much I'm gonna say about that. That's just something that it's along the same lines of what I want to talk about. So I have to make sure you know it at least. But a new day opening gap and a new week opening gap are the exact same thing, just on higher, or not just on higher time frames. It's on the daily time frame. So the new day opening gap, obviously a new day opening gap is when it's like what I just showed you, but it's when the previous day's candle closes, and then there's a gap either up or down at the next daily candle's open. So here, this candle closed on Friday, and then the start of the week, we opened here and left a section of price that was untraded. That is a new week opening gap because that was the start of the week. So this is typically when this gets left unfilled, we'll like go get it urgently. But this was a no news Monday, and we also traded really far away from it, and we also filled part of it, so it's not as urgent. But usually this is like a draw on liquidity kind of thing, even though we haven't covered draw on liquidity yet. If there is a new day opening gap that is completely unfilled, it will completely control my bias. Like, I will not fade it until it's filled, because like I told you, it's a section of price that literally hasn't been traded through at all. Price goes to fill it urgently if it's unfilled. It doesn't happen super often, but when it does happen, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, dude, that's free bread. Like, I'm literally just gonna eat for free today. So we're probably gonna have to scroll back a decent bit to find like live chart examples because it doesn't happen often. But here's another one. So this is the gap from Wednesday daily candle close to Thursday candle open. So this is a new day opening gap because it's between days of the week. The new week opening gap is obviously between weeks. So the candle close on Friday and the open on Sunday. The gap that day is a new week opening gap. So that's literally the only difference. They operate the same. There's some advanced ways to use these things, like where they last. The algorithm holds the print of the thing for 3 days on the daily and 3 weeks on the weekly. I don't know, bro. I don't look at that. I look at it until it's filled, to be honest. I don't look at it much further than that, except for new week opening gaps. New week opening gaps I'll pay attention to because it kind of acts as like a premium and discount. So like if you're above a new week opening gap, you're considered to be in a premium, and if you're below, you're considered to be in a discount based on the weekly candle. But that's just because of the weekly candle open, which we're going to talk about in the open high low, open low high class. I would assume it's on your end. But yeah, I mean, right now just think about it is. Oh, okay. But yeah, right now just focus on the fact that it's an imbalance that needs to get filled. That's all you really need to think about. So, unfortunately, it's going to be hard to find an example because it hasn't happened in a minute where we leave a gap like untouched for a long time, or leave it untouched going into New York Open, because that's always like a really good example. I'll try and look real quick. Let me see. But it hasn't happened in a long time, so okay. Here's one. This is from news though. This was a news fueled drop, but. So this was a new week opening gap. So Friday candle closed here on the bearish candle, and then the Sunday candle opened here. So the gap in that is the new day opening gap, or the new week opening gap. So like I said, you expect that to get filled pretty aggressively. I mean, it's hard to counteract this move because, like I said, it was fueled by news. It's like manual intervention. So it's hard to counteract a freaking 4,600 tick move in one day. But you can see, as soon as we go into New York Open, we start moving to it until we fill it. Like Monday, this was a no news Monday, and we still moved super aggressively to recover this move and fill this new day opening gap. And we even made it there on Monday. We just didn't completely fill it. So then Tuesday, we still trade to it, filled it some more, didn't completely fill it. And then Wednesday goes and completely fills the new day opening gap, and then we tank. So price didn't go anywhere until we filled this new day opening gap. So that's usually how I'm using it. But like, it also respects the levels of the new day opening gap. This isn't like a big deal. Like, you could go the rest of your life without using these things I'm about to tell you, but it is just true and it does happen. Even though we came up and we tapped into the lower part of this new day opening gap and it got filled, the low of it can still be respected and interacted with. So like here, we didn't make it into any fair value gap or anything like that, but you can see after we pulled down back into the new day opening gap low and respected it, we started to push back up. And then you can see that we also are wicking at the halfway point of the new day opening gap. So if it's a big new day opening gap, you can use these as like take profits or like just sensitive places to watch instead of only waiting for the entire gap to fill. Even though the entire gap typically will fill, we can get reactions like how we did here off the halfway point and off the low and off the high, even if it's like already a filled gap. So yeah, I mean, it's not really too complicated of a concept. This one ended up never getting filled. I remember this one. I was waiting for that one on that day, but I mean, it got filled way later on. But yeah, it took a minute. Let's see. Ooh, I want to find an example of it filling the same day because those days are just gorgeous. Doesn't show on this chart. Okay, hold on. Stick sound. Blick sound.
Sorry, I'm having trouble.
Alexa!
It looks like an issue.
Oh my god.
So try restarting them. Unplug both of them, then plug the router back in. Wait 30 seconds. Once the router is back on and connected to the internet, plug in the Echo device.
Yo, I'm about to light that on fire. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yes, those are new day opening gaps. It's really simple. It's the same thing as all the other stuff where I'm like, I can't overcomplicate it. It's literally hard to. It's literally just the gap between the previous day's candle close and the next day candle open. Or for new week opening gaps, it's the gap between the previous candle's close and the new week candle's open. That's literally it. And the way that you utilize them is the way that you utilize imbalances. You can trade. I rarely trade away from them, like after they get filled. That's not something I normally do, unless it was like a weekly objective for me or something. Typically, I'm always using them as a section of price I want to trade towards. Because like I told you, like that is one of the strongest draws on liquidity that I've ever seen. If we go into a New York session with a completely unfilled new day opening gap, I don't think there's one time where I've seen us not go fill it, or maybe like once or twice. But like we typically trade mad aggressive to go fill it. News candles can create voids too, yeah, but super rarely, super rare. So yeah, bro. I mean, we can keep looking for examples, but it's really not too complicated. And like I said, if you want to...
Sorry, I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. It looks like an issue with the router and Echo device, so try restarting them.
Yeah, I'm about to go break. Hey, give me 1 second. I'm going to go break that Alexa.
Back in. Wait 30 seconds. Once the router is back on and connected to the internet, plug in the Echo device.
Shut your bitch ass up! Alright, that's all handled. We're all good now. Alright, let's do it. Yeah, let's find some more examples, guys. Let's do it. We just covered that one. Stick sound. Blick sound. That's what I mean. It doesn't show up super often, but when it does, it's really nice. So I'm just trying to find examples that we can use. Stick sound. Blick sound. Is this an example? It is. Perfect. This is exactly what I was talking about. Okay, so here we have an unfilled new day opening gap going into New York Open. This gap has not been filled. This is the close from Wednesday and the open, well, I mean also on Wednesday, but it's the start of the new day candle. So unfilled, Completely untraded price action. There's no up movement or down movement within this section of price. So, like I said, if we go into New York session and we have a scenario like that, I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10, we are going to immediately go fill it. We're not going to waste any time. We are going to immediately go and fill that. So, they're not going to make me scroll all the way back, even though I just went on the 5-minute chart, right? There's no way, right? Alright. Nonetheless, we open. Here's New York Open. Without any type of hesitation, bro. Immediate free fall to the new day opening gap. And then, like I told you, I don't know if we reached the halfway point on this. Let me see. Like I told you, you can use the halfway point as take profits. Because where did we get a reaction off to the tick? The halfway point. And then we bounce up, fill this fair value gap, and then come in and fill the rest of the gap. So that's a perfect example of how I use new day opening gaps. Whenever there's a scenario like this, exactly like this, like I said, bro, if we do not waste any time. We get straight to it and go fill that gap. So that's the typical scenario where I use new day opening gaps and new week opening gaps. Let's see if we can find another example. And I like a full of pictures of you. Give me that amen. Oh, here we go. I remember this day vividly. Because this was the first time that I talked about new day opening gaps, and the video got like 30,000 views. Bro, this is psychotic. Jesus Christ. I'm so close to crashing out. It's not even funny. Alright. It's literally the exact same setup. You can disregard everything. Not literally, but like in this scenario, in the last scenario, literally disregard everything, bro. Just look at this going into New York Open. This is the previous day's close. This is the next day's open. There is a section of price that literally has no traded price action in it. And like I said, if we do that and we make it all the way to New York Open, we will waste no time in going to fill it. Does this not look exactly like the last time? As soon as it hit 930, free fall to fill the gap, bro. Just a free fall, immediate. But yeah, I don't want to over explain it. If you want to use the new day opening gap and the new week opening gap in a more advanced way, like I told you, that some people do, where like they leave it on their charts for like the entire week or for like 3 days just to see how it interacts. I've never gotten any use out of that. Me personally, I'm just looking for an imbalance to get filled. So if the imbalance is already filled, I typically stop paying attention to it. So in that sense, this is really all I can show you. I showed you a couple examples. I explained it to you. It's not really that complicated. But if anyone in the Discord has any questions, let me know. Well, it doesn't matter what the time frame is. Like that gap will be there on every time frame. I'm just on the 1 hour so I could find examples quicker. But if the candle closed at one point and then gapped up on the next day's candle open, that gap will show up on every single time frame. You can look at it on the daily, you can look at it on the 1 minute, it'll be there. So you can look on any time frame you want. You just need to see if there's a gap from the previous candle's close and the next candle's open. Why do they form? I have no idea. Even ICT said that this is the only thing that he can't really predict and never Like, he never, because, I mean, he claims to know the algorithm. He said that predicting when new day opening gaps are going to happen is something that he's never done or never been able to do, or, like, which direction they will happen. It's the only thing that he doesn't know either. Can I? No, dude. No, I can't. Why? Yeah, you guys are done, bruh. Yeah. Go ahead and uneducated, I guess. Yeah, I'm done. More, did you teach ICT? More is ICT's little piggy. It's finally a real question. Do they get a reaction or are they just a point of interest? They do get a reaction. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to scroll all the way back to find it. But I just showed you, well, for one, right here. See this new day opening gap? As soon as we filled it, we got that dump. And then the next one, the last one I just showed you was a really good one. If it's still here. Yeah. Bruh. It doesn't show. I have to go on the smaller time. Oh, no, it does. All right, clean. So on this one, too, that's why I was talking about the halfway points. And talking about the halfway points and talking about the highs and lows even after the gap's filled, how they get reactions. This is a good example. You can't see it, but I know you remember because I specified it. On this push down, before we completely filled it, we reacted to the tick off the halfway point of this gap. So that sent us on a retrace, on a small retrace, and then we dumped. So they do get reactions. But more often than not, I'm using it as a point of interest. For the same reason that, like, you give me a reaction. YouTube, that was a girl that said that, by the way. Just so you know. What was I saying? Now there's a party in my pants and I can't focus. Bro, I'm not flexing. I'm just saying. Because everyone thinks that I talk to dudes. I'm for real an eater. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube video. There's no point of even being here anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not too crazy of a class. Because the new day opening gaps don't show up super frequently. But like I said, I just showed you the 2 times where they did. And how we just wasted no time and got straight to it. That's what you need to be paying attention to, bro. But yeah. You guys have a fantastic, beautiful day. Mwah, 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 mwah.